This podcast is powered by The Plug.
I'm your host, Chardonnay, aka Coco Madame, and I'm so excited to be here. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Hustle Bunny. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hustle Bunny. I'm your host, Chardonnay, aka Coco Madame, and in the studio today, we have the beautiful, lovely Miss Coco. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. It's nice. It's like crazy because if you guys tuned in last season, we had her sister Dolly, Grow Love, and you guys are identical twins. Mm-hmm. So in case people are like wondering, when they see video, it's not your lovely sister, but your twin sister. So thank you for joining us today. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency investments because I know a lot of our listeners, we do make a lot of money. And we make copious amounts, and a lot of us don't know what to do with it, right? We don't have an exit strategy out of the industry. Either we find ourselves spending it, or like saving it, just like having it sitting in our savings account, or traveling, or whatever it is. But Coco is here today to kind of give us a guide into what we should try and do with our money.
Yeah,
yes. Well,
first of all, I want to make an acknowledgement that we are on stolen land. This is ancient homelands of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, and Apache tribes, as well as the Oceti Sakowin, the 7 tribes of the Lakota, Sioux, Nakota, and Dakota peoples. So I just want to put that out there.
You always have to put that out there, especially cause is that just in Colorado, or is that just are you just talking about the states in
right here where we're
just in Colorado? Well, if you didn't know that, you learned something new today. I knew we were on stolen land. A lot of people know that, but they're not. They're unaware. They don't want to know that. You know,
it's uncomfortable.
It is a very uncomfortable topic for many people. So, kind of tell us about who you are.
Yeah. So I'm an artist living and working in Denver. I am not a financial advisor. I do not work in the finance industry, or I'm not an economist. Basically, I stumbled upon crypto and Bitcoin a couple years ago and saw a need for something like that. For myself and my family, but also for the community.
That's beautiful. And it's also too, you're just you're a normal, just regular woman. And I think that's what makes it even better, because it's not like an economist or like, a financial advisor who won't talk in clear terminology. They're going to run you around in circles and you still learn nothing. So it is nice to know that you're just another artist, another just human trying to make it.
Yep, that's the truth. And I think, the things that I have gone through in my life, a lot of people can relate to, especially when it comes to money.
Right.
We're all kind of subjected to the same rules in this society, under these financial standards, unfortunately. Some of us are the lucky ones and can get ahead,
right?
But the majority of us can't.
Exactly.
And so there is a need and a demand for something else. And where the fiat currency, the almighty dollar, is failing the everyday person, cryptography, encryption, mathematics with computers kind of fills that hole in terms of finding a digital currency that everybody can use, and that is not going to be constantly debased and devalued.
Right. So we know, like you said, like the dollar is failing, and we work for dollars.
Yep.
So is that the main reason you got into cryptocurrency, or how did you get into it?
Yeah. So the first thing that I got into was day trading, and I invested quite a bit of money and time to try to get ahead, to try to have my money work for me. And what I and my husband quickly realized is that system is built to take your money away from you, because they have algorithms and they have all the computers hooked up to see where the price action is going, and then they can just take the rug out from underneath you and take everything that you've invested. And we only did it for a short amount of time. We only did it for like a month, and we're like, "Whoa, this is not cool."
Right?
Like, we're not. It's really high risk, and we knew that going in. But I guess in a way we thought we could be the exception. And what we learned is that the system is rigged against us.
Right.
And so then my brother introduced us to crypto and Bitcoin. I say crypto and Bitcoin are different because Bitcoin has all the 5 tenets or the 5 pillars of perfect money, perfect sound, hard money, while the other crypto coins or tokens or whatever, they don't necessarily share that. All of those 5 tenets.
Okay.
And that's the difference for me.
And what are kind of some of those, like, can you kind of talk to us about, like, what are the difference, like the tokens, the Bitcoin, those different things? Like, so when you're talking about that, what does that mean?
So the cryptography that came out, modern cryptography that came out of the technology boom, computer boom, and the internet, there were these people called cypherpunks, and basically what they were saying was that it's really important to encrypt your messaging. It's really important to have that privacy enhancing software, because there are bad actors out there. There are adversaries that are going to try to, in whatever way, take your money, exploit whatever. And so it was for social and political change that movement began, and that was in the 1980s, I believe. So it's kind of, we're really in the first stages of this this new cryptography, this ability to use software in a way that nobody can change it, nobody can influence it, nobody can confiscate it as well, and that's something that's different than the traditional financial system.
Right.
Is that it's peer to peer, and so and also it has a set of rules that applies to the everyday person as well as the really, really wealthy. It's the same set of rules.
Right.
It doesn't change like the legacy financial system. Like
the
really wealthy have a totally different set of rules.
Right.
And corporations have a totally different set of rules than we do.
Right.
And it makes it very unfair and makes it unable for the everyday person to get ahead.
Yeah, it definitely does. I find, I've been studying it. I've been trying to study, like I said, day trading, options trading, cryptocurrency, all these different things. And the terminology, it's almost like reading legal terms. It's almost like, when like a lawyer gives you like a piece of paper and it's like, sign this, but you just like signed your life away because you don't understand any of like the, what they're saying. Yeah. So I find myself being very cautious. And, I think what I hate the most is when people are just like, just do it. Just put $1,000 into it and make $10,000. It's like that. I don't think that's how that works. You know what I mean? I know that's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. So that you make a really good point.
911?
What's your emergency?
Yeah, somebody's just broke into my house.
Okay, we'll get a unit over shortly.
Okay, please hurry.
Real quick, can you verify your race for us?
I'm black. No, I'm sorry. I'm white. I'm full white.
Okay, can you answer a few questions just to confirm?
Okay.
Okay, how do you feel about Black Lives Matter?
All lives matter.
Nice. Did OJ do it?
Yeah, he did it.
Okay, who's the best boxer in the United States?
Jake Paul.
King of R&B.
Justin Bieber.
Okay, last question. Say ask.
X. Oh, fuck. No, hey!
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you or your company are looking to jump into the podcast world, now is the time. The Plug Agency is here to connect you to the full power of podcasting. You just record and leave the rest to us. The people are listening and want to hear from you. Theplug-agency.com. That's theplug-agency.com. Click the link in the episode description for an exclusive offer.
My husband and I, we're big advocates for privacy,
Mm-hmm.
for self-custody, and for censorship resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to be sovereign, to be truly free, you need to be untouchable, right? You
Right.
need not anybody trying to fuck with you.
Exactly.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I wasn't sure how cool we were with that. Cool. So privacy is a huge thing, especially this day and age. The people at the top, the people who control the money, control the power.
Right.
They have the power. And they so often like to really try to control the individual.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially what we've seen with COVID, like more and more, there's a tighter control of the individual, how the individual cannot not only move freely
Mm-hmm.
in this space, but also transact freely and the like. And if you can do that in a censorship-free way, that's peer-to-peer, and it, basically can't be fucked with,
Right.
then you are achieving a level of freedom that you couldn't
Right.
before.
And I think that's really big when you say that, just because, being a dancer, being a sex worker, whatever kind of work that you're doing, sugaring, dancing, OnlyFans, porn, whatever it is, but a lot of us don't have that opportunity because of the work that we do. It's technically just like, it's all cash up front, so it's all under the table. And even if we do file our taxes, have an LLC, do the right thing, people still look at the work that you do. So you're already judged upon that. So that's why I feel like to have a way out of the industry, if you do want a way out of the industry, because, everyone doesn't want to do everything forever.
Right.
I feel like this is a good way to do it because you do have like that privacy. No one cares about what you do or how you got your money. It's just like it's secure, it's private. And I feel like it gives us a chance to feel like we're doing better and we don't have that preconceived judgment or notions or whatever,
Right.
when you're
Right.
sitting there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, people who work in the adult entertainment industry and sex workers, like, they have value in the society.
Right.
And it's shown with how much they make.
Exactly.
Right? But the traditional legacy financial system has their own moral standards
Mm-hmm.
to say who they are going to work with, who they are going to transact with, who they are going to do business with, and really it's a way to kind of punish the people that work, mainly women, I
Mhm.
want to say, I don't know if that's true or not because I don't work in the industry, but I want to say that, you know, as a woman, we make 75 cents on the dollar of every man, right? So
exactly.
How are you going to get your money?
Right.
And a lot of women go to the career that's going to make them the most money.
Exactly.
Right? Without having to spend the money, get in debt to get an education, you know.
Exactly.
The time, everything that it takes.
And not everyone has that. Not everyone has like, you know, people have kids, people have jobs, people have so much going on that they're doing. Like to sit down and do 4 years of school or pay for it, like it's just not, it's not feasible for everybody.
Right.
You know?
So you're trading your time for money. You're trading your time for a store of value in a way. In this society, and for sex workers and adult entertainment workers, it's the dollar, the government provided currency. And what we're seeing is that the value of the dollar is going down. So, and that's inflation. Right. So there are two types, as I understand it, there are two types of wealth confiscation in this country. That's confiscation through taxation and confiscation through inflation. So they're not, the dollar is no longer tethered to anything. It used to be tethered to gold. Yes. So it used to be backed by gold. Right. And we went off the gold standard in 1971. Oh, I didn't know that. So the dollar was not tied to gold anymore. It has, it has no intrinsic value. The only value it has is because the government and the people using it say it has value. Right. And gold used to be the global reserve currency as well. But now the U.S. is, or the U.S. dollar is the global reserve currency. So there's a problem there. Yeah. And we are not taught about money in the public school system. No. And we're really not really taught in a really meaningful way in higher education either. Right. About money. Right. And I believe there's a reason for that. Because if people knew, if people knew what the hell was going on, they would say, "What? No, like we're not doing this. Like it's not okay what you guys are doing." You know, and they use the media to try to spin it and use these fancy words, and nobody really understands it, and we just go along thinking, well, I hope they have our best interests at heart. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know? But do they ever really have their best interest? No, they have like the top 1%'s best interest. Right. And the U.S. is not a democracy the way they say it's a democracy. It's really a corporation. So the government works for corporations. They don't work for the people. So the corporations are like, hey, how are we going to get ours? Right. You know, and protect ours. Corporations actually have more protections than an individual citizen. You know, I've I've been reading about that and like learning about that. And, you know, I think the best thing that I've heard thus far, and I think they either came from my dad or somewhere along the lines, that America is so good about taking things away from us and then selling it back to us. So they're selling us, you know, all these things. And like, it even goes back to like, you know, you go to different countries. So like I went to Mexico for a week with my friend, and it was some of the best service, the kindest people, like everything, just like quality food out there, right? Like fresh fruit and like fresh seafood and things like that cost you $10, you know, translated into American currency. Out here, it's like you can't get, you got to pay to be healthy, right? They don't want to give you just like that basic thing. And it's like going into a place like Mexico and you think like, I know there's like bad places everywhere, but then you come to America and then you're like, dang, you guys, America really sold itself. You guys are really good at marketing yourselves. We're, you know, as a place that we want to be, like, you know, like they give it like this whole like identity, like this is like the place you need to be, like come here, like leave your beautiful country with all these great things. And not every country is great. You know what I mean? Every country has its downside, you know, but I think America is nothing but a big corporation, and all it does is sell itself back to the American people. Yeah. And I think you make a really good point. I want to mention that the U.S. has injected itself into global politics for a long time. And in an effort to have more control.
Right.
And, we want to say, oh, we're the best country in the world, like, come here, like, just like you were saying. And what has happened is a lot of our policies have destroyed other countries. Our wars have destroyed other countries, all these other things that that the media doesn't want to say because they're tightly controlled. And it's worth knowing that that fiat money, the government issued currency, specifically the dollar, has funded a lot of the wars, has funded a lot of the destruction of countries, done the overthrowing this person in order to get their person in, to get what they need.
Exactly.
And it's really ugly, and it's really sad, and it's like that colonizer mentality is like worldwide. It's not just here.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but we can do something about it. And I want to give everybody out there some hope.
Exactly.
Because the legacy financial system is not built for the everyday person, is not going to secure your sovereignty, your freedom. And in 2008, out of the mortgage crisis, where millions of people lost everything, lost their homes, everything, Bitcoin was born out of that, because there was no way for people to escape what happened.
Right.
And the banks were not properly punished for what they did. Yeah. And there's a reason for that, because whenever the government are leaders and legislators, they say, you know what, you got to stop doing this. Like, you guys are, what you're doing is illegal, and it's going to affect a lot of people. Well, they'll just tank the economy. Right. Because they can turn off the switch. Yeah. They can manipulate the markets. They can take all your money. They have all the computers to do that. And so a cypherpunk out there said, I'm going to find a way that people can opt out. And that's, for me, that's Bitcoin. Right. I am opting out of this financial system that is wrecking me, my family, taking my hard-earned time and money, and taking it away from me. Right. And so Bitcoin is its own thing. It can't be messed with. It's unconfiscatable.
Well, to my knowledge, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but to my knowledge, doesn't it bounce around? So no one person, like, that's how banks and things can't get their hands into it. It's because it bounces around.
Yeah. So it's a peer-to-peer digital network, distributed ledger, decentralized. So the traditional financial system is it's a centralized authority. So it's there's one point of total control, and also one point to be attacked as well. So with the cryptography, with the computer sciences, and with the invention of these really, really smart computers that can do this math, this incredible amount of math, these people were like, wow, how can we make it so the blockchain is immutable, where you can't change it. You can see exactly what's happened. You can't change. So it's like a history book that you can't rip the pages out. You can't select what you want to. It's totally public. I'm sorry, I kind of got off there. No, I don't even know where that question began.
Just kind of like, just.
Oh yeah,
just
the decentralization. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are nodes in the network, and anybody can have a node.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy a node, and basically that's a ledger that checks the transaction. So whenever somebody buys or sells Bitcoin or crypto, there has to be a consensus from the nodes around you that say, yep, that checks out, that checks out, that checks out. So everybody has to agree.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that transaction is correct, and nobody's tried to change the code. Nobody's trying to double spend. Nobody's trying to, say it's worth more than it is. And so that's the checks and balances that we don't have in this traditional financial system.
Yeah.
And it's peer-to-peer.
Okay.
There's no intermediaries. Like,
right.
When I have my Bitcoin in my wallet and I say, what's your wallet address? I send it directly to you.
There's no like
bank involved.
Yeah, transaction fee, no like
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there is a mining fee.
Yeah.
To mine the
But it's
block.
not like when you send stuff to like the bank, it's like it's like this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, and now they're like, what are you spending that money on?
Yeah, they're like,
and they're like asking you like, what? It's my money. Like,
yeah, like why do you need to know
what
I'm spending my money on?
Right, and that's the privacy part of it. It's like if you're taking your money and doing with it what they don't like, they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
So that's that privacy thing. It's like, this is my money, and I want it to go to this person.
Right.
Or that person is going to give it to me.
Right.
There's nobody to stop that.
Exactly.
Nobody to.
There's no. Yeah, I like that. I'm still like learning things too. Like, yeah, because when you have to say like, what is this money for? Like, send a note. Like, what are you paying this person for? I didn't even think about it like that. I was just like, oh man.
You were being censored. So people are being censored in this society, and they are being stopped and unable to move freely and transact freely. And that. Like in a free society, like no, that's not a free society.
Oh no, I got a notification. I made a deposit. I made like a large deposit into my savings account a couple of weeks ago, and I got like a notification from the credit bureau that was like, we noticed that you deposited like a large amount of money like in your account, and it like sent me this whole message like, why do you guys care? Like, what is that? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, well, and they put it in terms of it's for your safety. Yeah. And you're like,
no, it's not. Y'all trying to be nosy. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, get out of my business. All right. Yep. I got things I need to do or want to do.
Right.
So it's just like, and like it also comes back to like being a dancer, like in the taxes and things like that. Right. So for me, I always deposit X amount of money. Like I'll save up X amount of money before I make a deposit, and I do it like once a week. So like I don't get flagged by the IRS, so they don't think I'm making X amount of money, which is like
laundering money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
And that's like the shitty thing that we have to do is like we have to watch what we do with our money so we don't get flagged or we don't get like super taxed or like, the IRS is like watching you, which like just sounds crazy. Like the IRS is watching you.
They're always watching you.
Like we gotta make sure we get every dollar, every penny, every cent. Make sure you're not doing what you need to do. It's like, it's stupid. But then if you do cash, right? Because I have friends who do, they refuse to open up a bank account. The only time that they do use it is because they have to like get like a cashier's check to pay rent or pay their rental line, but they refuse to keep money in the bank. So they do everything in cash, but then they have no value as a human because they don't have any accounts open.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't have a credit score because you do everything in cash. And then like, if you do it, then it's like, that's flagged too. And it's like, man, like there's no way around it, without getting looked at.
So people in the adult entertainment industry and sex workers, they have their strategies, right, to get around the traditional banking system. And it works for some, but in a lot of ways it's really limiting.
It is.
And it's really incredibly unfair.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I had a Roth IRA and over 10 years, it only gained like $2,000. And I'm just like, dude, this is not, maybe it's keeping up with inflation. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people who are, the majority of the world is unbanked.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a bank account. And I think what's really important to understand is that Bitcoin fills that hole in a way that if you have a wallet on your phone, if you have a phone and you have a wallet, a software wallet on your phone, you can transact with anybody in that community.
Right.
And that in El Salvador, I don't know if you've heard about El Salvador, but they just made Bitcoin legal tender.
Oh.
And that's a huge, huge leap for Bitcoin, because there are 4 stages of money. And Bitcoin has kind of been in this kind of second stage of a store of value, which are like investments and stuff like that. And while investments are really good, you can't transact with them every day. Right. But they have been doing things in El Salvador, and I want to do a shout out for Bitcoin Beach and the people of Bitcoin Beach and Jack Mallers, who went down there and was able to talk with the president of El Salvador.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they spoke, and he saw the value of having Bitcoin as their currency. Like they currently have the US dollar, but that doesn't work for everybody in that community. Especially with all the fees, having to follow all the rules, that the banking system has, that doesn't work for everybody. Bitcoin is filling that hole for a lot of people. It is filling the hole for people in America and around the world. And they're seeing it as a better value than the fiat currency, that the government issued currency, because it's not being constantly devalued.
Right. So how does one like get into it? Like how does like one, like we're talking about it, but like how do we take those steps, and how do you profit off of it? I guess first things first is, how do you even get into it?
Okay. So there are a lot of really, really smart people out there that have been studying, researching money, specifically Bitcoin, since the early days of Bitcoin. And by the way, Bitcoin was invented by an anonymous person.
So no one still knows who created. Oh, good for him.
Them,
they,
or
who, she,
whoever they are.
Hopefully it's a she. I'm rooting for a she or a they or whatever your pronoun is. I am rooting for it.
So this person, Satoshi Nakamoto, found a need for a decentralized peer-to-peer digital currency. And there have been a lot of financial investors that and economists that have seen this as the answer to fiat's problems, because fiat is dying.
Right.
As a money, it is no longer working for the people.
Right.
The governments and the corporations are using it against people, and they're just taking their money and through confiscation. And so, where were we going with that one?
How does one start investing in cryptocurrency? So
the first person that I found that really had some amazing things to say and is more about the Bitcoin philosophy is Andreas Antonopoulos.
Okay.
And I actually got to meet him at Ethereum Denver 2 years ago. He's an amazing human being that really gets it and is able to translate it in a way that that I could understand. Being, I'm more like emotional brain. I'm not really technical.
Same. You got to tell me about 5 times. I got to see it, use it, know it, embrace it.
Right. So and then also there's these 2 people, Max Kaiser from the Kaiser Report and Stacy Hebert. They have the Orange Pill podcast, now, and it's really anecdotal, like current events and stuff like that. But their whole philosophy on Bitcoin is something that I believe too, and that Bitcoin can free you and your family. It's if you have a low time preference and you're willing to put your money somewhere and just let it sit, then you are going to see it grow. You're going to see the value of your hard-earned money appreciate in a way that putting that cash under your mattress is not going to do. Even a traditional bank account, even investing, it outperforms every asset class out there. It's gone up 200% year by year.
Okay.
And it's not stopping.
Like
we hit a high after Tesla put some Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and it's gone down a little bit, but for all purposes, like we're still in a bull run right now, and it does these bull runs every halving event, which is every 4 years. That's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo that I don't really understand, and I won't bother you guys with that. But for all intents and purposes, like it's going up. It's not going to stop going up. It's going to keep going up because the dollar is going down.
Right.
So people are going to look for different ways to keep their store of value of their money.
Right.
Like, that's what's got to happen. Like, the more that people are like, where the F did my money go? Like, they're going to say, okay, so the traditional banking system can only do so much.
Right.
And with Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, I don't want to just focus on Bitcoin because there is some value in other cryptocurrencies. I'm not quite sure what that is because that's not my focus.
Right. Because I know, like, right now, the big thing is Dogecoin, Ethereum 2, and Bitcoin. Those are, like, the top 4 that I hear most about. And I know Dogecoin itself has been a topic of discussion because right now it's, like, super cheap to buy.
Yeah, so Dogecoin was created, as far as I understand it, it was created as a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were saying on their Twitter, like, wouldn't it be funny if Elon Musk was the ambassador of Doge?
Right.
And then Elon being Elon was like, I'll be the ambassador of Doge.
Right.
And so that's when Dogecoin started to gain more attention, and people were like, I want to make some money.
Yeah, exactly. Right? They're like, well, it's cheap enough right now. I can buy like 100 shares and only spend like $10 or $20 on it, Yeah. And then you're like, well, Elon Musk is behind it. So it's like one of those things. So as far as like actually starting to invest, I know there's apps. There's like Coinbase. There's Webull.
Okay.
Robinhood.
Yeah. So we have Bitcoiner.guide as basically the best resource on the internet, as far as I'm concerned, on how to interact with Bitcoin. Okay. So for me, being a privacy advocate, Coinbase, Binance, Robinhood, those are all KYC'd services.
Okay.
And KYC is know your customer. So they're going to gather all your information.
Okay.
They're going to make sure they know who you are, how much money you're investing, how much money the government can take when you've made some money, right? So, but there are services that are totally private, and you can interact with Bitcoin and do your purchases, transactions, whatever, in that community in a totally censorship-free, private way. And that's what we advocate, because now they're saying, like, well, if you made money on crypto or Bitcoin, we want our cut.
Yeah.
And so that's another way of confiscation.
Right.
And when now Bitcoin's a currency.
Yeah.
According to El Salvador.
Yeah.
So legally they cannot they cannot tax that.
So does that mean if we go to El Salvador, I can use my Bitcoin when I'm out there? Like I can go like shopping or eating or like renting.
Yeah.
I can use my Bitcoin.
Yeah. So here where we live, there isn't a big community for being able to transact with Bitcoin.
Right.
There are places like that where you can get paid in Bitcoin, just like the regular fiat currency, and you can buy your groceries, you can pay for your rent, you can work for Bitcoin, and it's this, this beautiful community that has no banks.
Yeah.
No banks involved. It's peer to peer. Nobody's trying to censor you. Nobody's trying to take your money, and it's a beautiful thing. I want to go there. And the other thing that El Salvador is doing is that they want to mine Bitcoin using geothermal energy from volcanoes.
Oh, that just keeps getting cooler and cooler
It's
by the
so
second. I don't even know what that means,
It's like
but
the
I mean,
coolest thing.
Yeah,
it's the coolest thing. So yeah, so basically, you have a software wallet or a hardware wallet, which is like an external hard drive.
Okay.
And you buy it on one of these exchanges, and the KYC exchanges, they custody your Bitcoin. So it's not in your hands. Your Bitcoin isn't in your hands. And that's a distinction that's really important, because self-custody, when you don't have custody over your own Bitcoin, then they still can censor you. And also these exchanges, they're selling an IOU. They're saying they have Bitcoin, but we don't know if that's true or not. Right. So it's important to actually have the Bitcoin in your own hands. And geez, I can't even. I'm like drawing a total blank.
It's okay. I do that too sometimes.
of what the anonymous. So you can transact anonymously.
Okay.
And buy Bitcoin on anonymous exchanges, and then it goes from that address on the exchange into your address, into your wallet, and it's yours. And you put it in a safe, and you make sure that you write the key passphrase for it, because if you lose the key passphrase, it's gone. So it's like radical responsibility, right? The banks have traditionally held our money, right? And it's been safe, but it's not safe anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's just access, and you change a couple of zeros, and then, because I remember back in like the early mid-2000s, I guess, my mom, she was banking with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo had this big scandal because the computer system got hacked and people were they were confiscating other people's money, and my mom was like one of the people who got caught up in all that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, now that I'm older and like I actually understand like the severity of what actually happened and why she was so upset, because it's like, dang, like that's my money. I got 3 kids to feed, and it's like I'm supposed to trust the bank. I'm supposed to trust you guys to for you to hold my money, which I still think is stupid as well too. You gotta have someone hold your money for you that you worked for, whatever, get charged if you have it or if you don't have it, whatever. But like I just remember that happening, and knowing like that feeling of like insecurity, like you're like, dang, like I thought I was supposed to trust you guys. And the same thing, with, I feel like a good point that you brought up with like some of these apps now, it's like, but it's not private. It's not, because in a couple of years, it could be the Wells Fargo scam. We don't know, like you said, we don't know if they do have this money or we don't have the money, or like what do you guys really got going on,
And that brings up another point about Robinhood, with what happened with Robinhood and GameStop.
Right.
So what happened was there was leaked information that people at the top were going to short sell and crash the company, like kill the company. And it's so messed up, but they do this all the time. They're like, we're gonna short sell. Yeah. And so when you short sell, basically you're taking all the money. You're taking all the money that was invested from all the traders in the community, or all the people that had stock in it. And so when the word got out, all the day traders were combating that by buying. And what ended up happening is the company that short sold lost millions of dollars.
As they should.
Yeah, but Robinhood stopped the trading, which is not legal.
Yeah.
It's illegal to stop somebody who was trying to make money, wasn't making money, and they told them to stop the trading.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't lose as much money.
I know they owe something, like aren't they like back paid like by millions of dollars right now to people who invested in GameStop?
Oh, I don't know.
I think they're.
Really?
I think because because Robinhood wasn't set up, like they weren't prepared for like normal people to be like, fuck you guys,
Yeah,
like we're gonna do you dirty how you do us dirty.
Yep.
So I think and it could have just been an article, you know, when you read things on the internet nowadays, you don't know if it is real. But I think it was Google Finance or something. But like they said, like they were in deep shit. Like Robinhood was in deep shit as far as like back selling, giving people money that they owed for the GameStop. And, you know, when I first started trying to get into investing, this was like after the GameStop thing. I wasn't like trying to get in on that, but I just wanted to see, like, I've always had interest in investing. And I tried to download Robinhood. And, like, you know how hard it is to get a Robinhood account now?
No. Is it hard?
It's like hard.
Do you have to give them your ID?
You have to give them like a picture of your ID.
Yeah.
You have to give them like 3 months of your bank statements.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So like Robinhood is like if you want to
invasive.
Exactly.
Super invasive. Like it's just so ridiculous. It's gotten so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you that if it's not going in their favor, they can change the rules.
Exactly.
Because it's centrally controlled.
Exactly.
And so it's all those exchanges and even, you know, exchanges that are said to be for the people, like Robinhood, like steal from the rich, give to the poor. Like,
exactly.
no.
Isn't that like your whole like je ne sais quoi, right?
Yeah.
Robinhood.
After that, I took all my Bitcoin off of Robinhood and said, that's it. I am done with Robinhood. I'm done with the KYC'd exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way a lot of people are. They're understanding that these exchanges, this traditional banking system is not working for the people anymore, and that now, when we didn't before, we have a way out, and we can take that radical responsibility, take that our hard-earned time money into our own custody, and not have it be messed with, and the added bonus of that is that it's going to go up in value.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. It's not if, it's when.
It's guaranteed. Like it's guaranteed money. So I guess like the one thing that I'm pretty sure like a lot, and I think you've grazed over it a couple of times, but so you have a wallet, but do a lot of people probably want to know, can you transfer cryptocurrency into real currency or no? Like, can you actually like trade it in for like cash? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that, like a lot of listeners. Because I know you were saying like you have like a wallet and you trade it from online to online, but can you do it can you like go, but well, I guess not, because like the banks don't have any say so in it.
Yeah, so you have to go through some sort of exchange.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where one person has the currency that you want in exchange for the currency they want.
Okay.
So there is an exchange.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
And the peer-to-peer exchanges are amazing. And I wish I could remember the name of the one that we use, but I
kind of draw a blank.
I haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah.
I haven't had the money to buy more Bitcoin. I spent all my money.
Well, it's like it's really expensive right now to buy a share in Bitcoin.
Well, and that's the other thing. That's a really good point. So we value Bitcoin in terms of the exchange rate of the dollar, right? But the actual value of Bitcoin is so much greater than that.
Yeah.
And I get really excited when I talk about this because it took me a long time to figure that out. Because like we only know what we know, right?
Right.
We only know what we've been taught. Our knowledge base is based on the experiences of our lives. And when you finally understand that Bitcoin is worth so much more than its exchange rate
Yeah.
in dollars, then because of the privacy aspect, because of the censorship resistance, because it's peer-to-peer, because it's decentralized. Once people really understand the value of that, the number exchange rate value, it doesn't matter anymore. Because guess what? The Bitcoin I have on my hard wallet isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be devalued. It's not going to be constantly debased. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's basically, and it's borderless. You can use it anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to get up and go, I'd take my hardware wallet and I'd go.
Oh, see, that's amazing. See, I'm like learning things. I'm like so excited about this now because I've been like trying to learn. And like I said, it's been hard learning.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult to understand. But the one thing that I want to kind of divulge to the listeners here is like, you don't have to understand the inner workings of Bitcoin to be able to use it, to be able to become financially free, financially sovereign from the oppressive state.
Yeah.
You don't have to know everything. And there is so much information out there. There's bitcoiner.guide. If you want to have Bitcoin content focused on privacy, self-custody, and censorship resistance, that's Econo Alchemist. He's been rising up in the field of that, like self-custody, privacy, censorship resistance. I'll show you the tools. I'll show you how to use them.
Right.
Like, it's all out there. Like, if you want to know, like, the best tool to keep your Bitcoin safe, how to store your private keys, all this other stuff, like, he demos all that stuff and shows you how to use it. And then there's also, like, minimizing your digital footprint. So also not allowing the government to see what you're doing on your phone all the time, listening to you, being able to have access to your camera. Like, that's really important too, because we're coming into an age where, like, whatever's out there, they're going to use against you in some way or another.
Oh, yeah. And that's like another, I'm glad you said that too, when people have like access to your cameras and whatever you have out there using against you.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of us, a lot of people who do like OnlyFans, you do videos on your phone, you do banking on your phone, you do all this stuff. And when it's out there, like, it's only making it harder for sex workers in general, right? Because everything that you do, you post things, you do things, even myself, I have things out there that I know, like, I mean, as much as I can try to delete things and pretend things and use fake, I use, fake names or, things like that. Yeah. It's still out there. Like, even doing this podcast, like, it's out there for the world to see, and I don't, hear, I guess it's out there for the world to hear, but you do need to protect yourself and understand and get that privacy. And I do think crypto is a good way out for people who want to, after they get done doing what they want to do, it's like a private life. It's a good way to make money, and it's a long-term thing,
it's a long-term investment.
Yeah, it's not a quick investment. I know a lot of people think like, oh, like, I'm going to do cryptocurrency, I'm going to make X amount of money. No, this is like a long-term investment. This is like what you would start today, and a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, you're going to see that. And like, you can do, you could do what it sounds like. You can do the exchange with person. So if you do need money at that time, but it's not like day trading, where you're like, you think you're like Wall Street. You're thinking Wall Street, right? You're thinking crazy, 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 buy, sell, sell, sell. It's not like that. This is like a long-term game. Yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention when you brought it up, Bitcoin is valued so high right now. Well, that's a good point. And people get scared of the price action or the price. And what I tell people is, like, you can buy $1 of Bitcoin. Yeah. You can buy $10 of Bitcoin. You can buy $100 of Bitcoin. Basically, there's 100 million Satoshis in one single Bitcoin. And we're going from the point where we're valuing it in whole coin, but eventually it's going to be valued in Satoshis.
Okay.
Because it's going to be worth so much.
Right.
So what a lot of people in the Bitcoin space are looking forward to is where does the value kind of plateau? And in any currency that is widely adopted, there is that point where it kind of plateaus. And we would like it around, it's called I think it's dollar parity. So $1 equals 1 Satoshi.
Okay.
So you can buy 100 Satoshis right now.
Yeah.
And that's like a fraction, of the Bitcoin. And 100 Satoshis when it's dollar parity is $100. If you can afford to buy 1 million Satoshis, which is like $200 worth right now, I think. I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but it's like if you can put like $200 in, $300 in, $1,000 in, you value it in Satoshis, and then you can see if there's dollar parity, like how much value that's going to be, and it's staggering. Yeah. Like, so every time there's a bull run, every 4 years, Bitcoin goes up, and then it settles back down because there are some people that take gains out of that and exchange it into dollars so that they can buy a house or buy a car, do whatever they need to do in their life to get ahead. We're going to see Bitcoin at $1 million in the next few years. Yeah. We're going to see it in $10 million in the next few years. We're going to see it at $100 million per coin, probably in the next 10 years, 10 or 12 years. And I don't think people really understand that. And I and other people I know who've done the research see the potential of this going hyper-Bitcoinization. And if you look at it that way, then not only are you benefiting from all the tenets of this sound money, but you're also benefiting from the price action and that value. And guess what? Not only you are going to be financially free, your family, your grandchildren, it's going to be a legacy. It's going to be generational wealth. Yes. That you are creating.
And it's like a new generational wealth. This isn't like old money. This isn't like the Joneses or, this isn't going back. This ain't, the people who are already at the 1% who are in this, like, the investing, the reason why I feel like they get so upset with like Bitcoin and things like that, it's because it's for people like us. It's for everyday people. So you're creating a whole new generation and giving your family and your future something different to rely on compared to just like, dang, like, this person just year after year after year after generation, they just keep rolling into money. And it's like, dang, like, what about the rest of us? It's like, because they make it like right now, I feel like we're at a crossroad almost to where we're like, people are like starting to get sick of like the same shit. Yep. You get real sick of just like this top percent, right? I can't get ahead. It's just like hard. So now I feel like we're starting to kind of stagger off into creating our own wealth, right? Right. And I was reading this article, like whether it's millennials or anything, 80s, 90s, babies, even 70s, I don't care how old you are. If you're just not from that generational like wealth, I think people are like, because my parents, they're middle class, right? Middle class, tinkering between middle class and then upper middle class. I think back in 2008, like a lot of people, they lost that upper middle class wealth, but they gave us enough. They gave us what we needed, right? But they were never able to get the odds of them, the chances of them becoming millionaires or even just like $500,000 a year for them isn't reachable, isn't feasible for them compared to like we have that opportunity now as their children to create that wealth, right? Start somewhere. Yeah. And I think that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, I feel like that's a good way to start. Because it is feasible. It is accessible. And like you say, you don't have to understand 100%. Because like you're not like you went to school for this. It's not like you're some major economist who's just gonna sit up here and blow smoke up our ass. No, it's like you can see like you're just you're a regular person. You're learning. You're always learning about it because shit changes every day. But I think that it's like time that we do that. And then I even think for like dancers now, even if you're like any industry, even just like a woman, just anybody in general, but I'll just speak for terms for just like the sex workers out there. Even if you've started investing, let's say you make $500 in a night, you work 3 nights a week and you average $1,500. All you gotta do is put in like $100, $200 in, and that's like over a lifetime, like that's maybe every other week you put money into it. Maybe once a month you put $1,000 into it, but like you have the money to make, and it's a lot of money. Don't just waste it. Create a space for you and your future.
Yep.
You want a house, you want a car, you want a family. Maybe that's not what you want, but like maybe everyone wants a way out. And maybe you want to start a business or something, but at least use this as like a foundation, as like one source of income,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't have to be your do all end all, but at least like try and like at least try,
Yeah, well, if you have the time, this could benefit you, your family, your community in ways that we haven't seen since the Renaissance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're calling Bitcoin Renaissance 2.0 because of its potential to help everyday people get the money they need to not only live in a comfortable way, but also create too. So the Renaissance, what happened was like the Medici family, they split off from the Catholic Church, and they said, we don't like what you're doing, so we're going to create our own money. They created their own money.
Right.
And it like the Florence just exploded with all of this art, and it was just like so much money was circulated in a way that was really meaningful to the everyday person. So everybody was able to attain some sort of freedom to do what they want.
Exactly.
So like dancers, probably you don't want to dance your whole life. It's not really, it doesn't really make sense.
How your knees are set up, you can't dance for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's hard on your body.
Yes, and your mentality.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, so take the time. It is worth it. Take the time to look into it and put $1,000 away. What is $1,000? You make that one night. You can make that in half a night sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's put that away. See what happens in 4 years, 2 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
The next 6 months. Let's see what happens. It's going to go up. It's going to come back down a little bit, but then it's going to go up like year over year, 200%. It's the best performing asset in the history of the world.
Yeah. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Get the money, protect yours, your hard-earned time out there, taking people's shit.
Yes. Well, you know what? I always say this. I always say I feel like sex workers are the real Robin Hoods because we take from the rich and give back to our communities. All the wealthy guys come in because, we're like, you deal with like the top 1% most of the time, right? Because how many people can come in and spend, like, you can coerce into spending like, I just do like an hour for like $1,000. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, we're taking from you guys and we're giving back to the community. That's what we do. And I think it's time that we protect ourselves as well too, and protect your future is the biggest thing. Because you always want to find a way. You always got to plan. We're not going to be 20, 30 forever. You're going to be 40, you're going to be 50. You're going to get tired of it.
Yeah, and Bitcoin not only fixes like your own financial issues, like it can also fix the community. Like we don't even know, like, because the fiat system is so oppressive in so many ways. Like when in terms of like what it's doing with the greed in the pharmaceutical industry, all that stuff. Like it fixes like the political system. The polar opposites that we're in right now, it fixes that. Like Bitcoin fixes a lot. And that's what Max Kaiser and Stacy Hubert says. Like Bitcoin fixes it.
Bitcoin fixes it. Bitcoin fixes the problems of the world. And that is just the start of it. Well, Coco, do we have any ending statements that you would like to tell our listeners?
Yeah, so basically, protect yourselves, protect your money. Bitcoin's a way out. It's a way for the individual to reach financial sovereignty, and it's a beautiful thing. And we're gonna see in the next couple of years, it's gonna start.
We're gonna be rolling in the money.
Yeah, not literal money.
Not literal money.
Because we're gonna think that shit is stupid.
Yeah, the paper shit ain't for nothing.
Yeah, nope.
And where can people find you if they kind of want to reach out to you and kind of talk to you a little bit more or get some more advice on it? And
yeah, so I'm on Twitter at BTC_Coco, and I mostly just repost stuff from a lot of people that I admire,
like articles and things like
leaders
that.
in the Bitcoin field that have something really important to say. And every once in a while I'll inject my own things, but yeah, so it's the Twitter Bitcoin Twitter is awesome.
Yeah,
That's the place to be.
I need to start following that a little bit more. I just started my Twitter journey like 2 months ago. I had no idea how Twitter worked for a little bit, but now that I know how it works, I was like, I'm overwhelmed with social media, whatever, but I'm on it. I need to get on the crypto site.
Yeah.
Well, Coco, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. We'll have to have you back again.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah, please do.
I'd love to chat with you again.
Yeah.
Maybe double trouble with you and your sister because you are an artist as well too, and I love female artists. Those are my favorite. Well, until next time, everyone, stay hustling, my little bunnies, and we will see you soon.